Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to my channel. So today is Christmas Day and people around the world celebrating this auspicious event. So as we are celebrating this auspicious Christmas Day, news broke out with a devastating tragedy at Aktau region in Kazakhstan involving Azerbaijan Airlines Flight J28243, which was en route from Baku region, Azerbaijan to Grozny region, Russia, carrying 62 passengers and 5 crew members on board. So while they were on approach at Grozny airport first, the weather conditions were so severe with a dense fog, so the pilot decided to divert its route from Grozny to Aktau region in Kazakhstan. So while they were on final approach at Kazakhstan's Aktau region, the aircraft encountered a severe bird strike, losing both of its engines with its power, and the pilots struggled to maneuver the aircraft. And in addition to that, they also suffered the GPS jamming, which gave faulty readings on its aircraft's navigation systems. So while on the ground at Aktau, many people captured a chilling footage of the aircraft, which was descending and climbing and descending simultaneously, although like it was flying like a glider while the pilots are trying to maintain the altitude while they were on approach at Aktau airport. So suddenly the plane tilted right and it went into a nosedive and slammed on the ground with nose first, and then it rolled over, and immediately the crash took place just 3 kilometers from the Aktau airport. So the firefighters dispatched at the crash site, and as of now, according to media reports, that 32 passengers survived the crash, mostly the passengers who were sitting at the back of the aircraft, but the remaining passengers who were sitting at the front of the aircraft did not survive the crash. So now let's look at the sequence of events, what eventually caused this devastating accident of Azerbaijan Airlines Flight J28243. So without further ado, let's get started right away. Alright guys, so as you can see on my screen, so this is the Azerbaijan Airlines Embraer's ERJ190-100. So if you guys don't know about Embraer, so it is a Brazilian aircraft manufacturer. Okay, so this particular airframe is registered as 4 Kilo Alpha Zulu 65 with its MSN registration as 1900630, and its airframe age is over 11.5 years old. So this aircraft is powered by two General Electric's CF34-10E5 engines with its thrust range between 18,000 to 20,000 pounds of force. So this particular aircraft was delivered to Azerbaijan Airlines on 2013, and it was nicknamed as Kusar. So Kusar is one of the districts, and it is a capital of Kusar district, and its distance between the Azerbaijan's capital Baku to Kusar is over 180 kilometers away. All right, so now coming to the passengers profile. So according to the media reports, like I said at the start of the video, that there were 62 passengers and 5 crew members. So if we can segregate these 62 passengers based on its nationalities, so based on the media reports, that 37 passengers are from Azerbaijan, 16 passengers are from Russia, 6 passengers are from Kazakhstan, and 3 passengers are from Kyrgyzstan. And also they also disclosed the 5 crew member names alongside the passenger names as well. Alright, so now let's get into the sequence events of what exactly happened to the Azerbaijan Airlines Flight J28243. Alright guys, so as you can see on my screen, so this is the flight radar 24 data of Azerbaijan Airlines Flight J28243 bound from Baku's Azerbaijan to Grozny, Russia. So immediately it is very well clear that the flight radar 24 data is incomplete because of the GPS jamming. So like I said, that the impacts of this GPS jamming would impact not only with the aircraft's navigation systems, but also impacts the ADS-B data as well. So ADS-B is nothing but automatic dependent surveillance and broadcast. So the role of this ADS-B is to provide an accurate readings of what exactly the aircraft's position is, what is its aircraft's airspeed is, and how much altitude is the aircraft gaining or descending. So that is the role of the ADS-B. All right, so let's start with the sequence since in the mid-flight it has given an inaccurate. So let's start with the sequence right here. Let's zoom in at Baku. So at 3:49 a.m., so Azerbaijan Airlines Flight J28243 with 62 passengers and 5 crew members departed at Baku Airport. And as you can see at the first half of the flight, and the plane was normally cruising up well with a relevant speed and then maintaining at a targeted altitude at 30,000 feet. So let's scroll up, and if we look at to the mid-flight, so uh, everything is going well until the aircraft reaches near to Makhachkala. It is a part of a Russian Federation territory here. So that is where exactly at this particular moment, we do not know exactly what happened there. But according to the media reports that they were nearly reaching to the Grozny airport here. But then as soon as they were reaching at Grozny airport, the weather conditions was not well improved due to a very dense fog. So again, the radar picked up the Azerbaijan flight, making a holding pattern just miles away from Grozny, which is right over here. So at that particular situation, pilots decided that as they may not make it to Grozny, so they decided to divert it to Aktau region, which is a part of Kazakhstan territory here. Right, so the pilots made a decision and they made a diversion from Grozny to Azerbaijan somewhere at around 4:40 a.m. And then there is a time gap between 4:40 a.m. and then 6:08 a.m. Well, to my understanding, again, the data is incomplete because of GPS jamming. But again, as we reached through Caspian Sea just near to Aktau airspace, there is a sudden spike here. If we can show you the graph here, there's a sudden spike here showing the altitude of 3,000 feet, which is very strange. And at that particular moment that the pilots were under emergency situation where they encountered a major bird strike, so losing both of its engines. And like I said, guys, that we do not know exactly where this bird strike took place. And in this particular graph also, I told you repeatedly, we cannot determine the exact cause of where exactly the bird strike took place. But anyhow, pilots declared Mayday to Aktau Airport. And as you can see, because of these fluctuations, the pilots, they're struggling to control the aircraft. They were descending and then ascending just to maintain the level of the aircraft. It's like, you're flying like a glider where you don't even have a power, but you're relying on the wind speed, because the more you descend the aircraft, the more speed you will gain. And then you will adjust that particular speed, and then you climb the aircraft by balancing the altitude. So likewise, this cycle continued multiple times while they were cruising near to the Caspian Sea, and then until they entered into the Kazakhstan territories, Aktau region. And goodness, guys, I mean, I have nothing to say about it because they definitely struggled a hell out of it, guys. And again, they also maintain a holding pattern with a figure 8, you can see right here, using the same maneuvering pattern. I have nothing to express, but they really tried to make sure to land this aircraft safely. But at the end, it became lot worse as the aircraft suddenly tilted to the right with a sudden nose dive, and then slammed on the ground with the nose hitting first, and crashed immediately, and during that crash the plane suddenly rolled over, and it came to a standstill, and it crashed just 3 kilometers at Aktau Airport. As you can see right here, this is the Aktau Airport, and immediately firefighters rushed to the crash site, and they found out that the tail section of the plane got separated, and miraculously it is intact, but the front section of the plane didn't make it out. So I also have a video also. I'm going to show you that video right away. All right, guys, so this is the eyewitness accounts of the final moments of Azerbaijan Airlines Flight J28243 at Aktau region in Kazakhstan, where this aircraft encountered a severe bird strike, damaging both engines of Embraer's ERJ190. All right, so let's play the sequence right away, and immediately you can see that the plane was at a climbing state and then suddenly went to a near stall. And surprisingly, the pilots immediately pushed the yoke down and started descending rapidly. And also they deployed the landing gear also. So the reason is basically they wanted to increase more airspeed, and just to ensure to maintain a proper altitude. So the more they gain the airspeed, the more altitude they can climb. So that's the same cycle, they're continuously doing it. And again, if we can continue the same flow here, you can see again previously they climbed in, and now they're slowly trying to descend. So the concern is that they were in a very distressed situation there. If I can look into that, the way the pilots are maneuvering in, and again you can see the plane is now banking a little bit to the right. So they are in a complete distress situation, where one, they're facing the GPS jamming situation, and another one is the bird strike, and concerning about the aircraft's weight, how much they can manage to land at the airport, that too in a very emergency, stressful situation. Right, so okay, so now this plane is now banking to the right. They're just nearing to the airport. It's, like I said, it's 3 kilometers away from the airport. And yeah, again, like I told you, they clearly deployed the landing gear. And suddenly at this particular moment, now the pilots are trying to pitch the nose down a bit to again try to regain the speed. But at this particular stage, something went terribly wrong here. Again, now the plane suddenly banged to the right very violently. It tilted very violently to the right, and now in a rapid nosedive. And then at that particular situation, well, the aircraft slammed on the ground very violently and then rolled over it. I mean, this is very, very terrifying to describe this. But let me show you that the exact sequence impact, where it first impacted here, if I can roll it back. Okay, so like I said, this is the exact moment that what pilots saw that maneuverability worked. But again here, let me reduce the speed with 0.5. So, okay. So like I said before, the plane tilted right very sharply. I think that is where they must have lost some of its airplane controls there. And then at that particular instance, if I can scroll a bit here, so look at the first impact. The first impact, you have seen that the cockpit section, it completely separated, or it has crushed directly on the ground because of that impact. And then second explosion started with the right wing slamming on the ground with its engine catching fire, and then it rolled over violently. Look at the left wingtip right there. It just rolled over it and caused a severe explosion. So that is where it really concerned that maybe if there are any survivors or not at that particular moment. So guys, ultimately I have to say that this is indeed the deadliest air crash I have never ever seen, and that too with the eyewitness accounts in a very closer view just moments before the crash. And immediately when I verified this eyewitness footage with the flight radar 24 data, it clearly showed that it is a perfect match. And then I was completely surprised to say that how did the Azerbaijan pilots really manage to maneuver this aircraft damaged with both engines due to bird strikes and with GPS jamming, and although they were cruising at the Caspian Sea, barely reaching at Aktau region, and that too in a very stressful situation. But ultimately, it ended up in a very tragic consequences, as you have seen at the last moments of the crash, where the plane suddenly tilted to the right and then rolled over. Uh, and concerning about are there any survivors, but speaking about survivors, indeed there is a miraculous moment that the rear end of the aircraft during the impact it got separated, and then it later confirmed from the rescuers that 32 passengers actually they were sitting at the rear end of the plane, but the front end of the aircraft completely destroyed during the first initial impact. So yeah, ultimately, even pilots also did not survive the crash at the moment. So, so on behalf of my channel, guys, I would like to pay my deepest condolences to the passengers who were deceased in this very difficult situation. And also, I like to wish the 32 survivors also with a very speedy recovery. And ultimately, guys, we only know, according to media reports, that the plane suffered a bird strike and also GPS jamming. But ultimately, investigators will be questioning about why there was a GPS jamming occurred. So even I too felt that GPS jamming is a very suspicious situation there. That usually when it comes to any war zones, sometimes GPS jamming is one of the difficult situations that airlines face. So that's why when the FAA and the other European regulators advises all the airlines not to fly through the war zone areas, so that that will be prone to not only targeting the civilian aircraft but also jamming the GPS signals. So maybe it is unknown that why this GPS jamming occurred. So that's where investigation will be taking into that lead. So that's it, guys. So this is the overall sequence of events, what happened to Azerbaijan Airlines Flight J28243. So until the investigation report is finally released, only then I will provide you that updates soon. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, and please like and subscribe to my channel, and we will see you again in the next video. So until then, guys, fast flights and safe landings to you.